Oh man, how many months has it been? And since a real one, the live streams don't count. Since you guys always tell me the live streams don't count. No, I mean, how long has it been since NineOuh came to YouTube and like made a real video? You know, like one of the ones that y'all actually put all those numbers next to the subscribe button for. Man, I've been dicking y'all around bad, but like a absentee father who comes home 20 years later after his child has finished graduating, I stand before you asking for your forgiveness. Konnichiwa minasan. Welcome to One Take Editorial, where I fit all my ideas that don't fit into a neatly edited video. Even though, I've got some ideas for this one. You know, you learn things when you don't make videos. When you're sitting in the shadows, just like watching what everyone else is doing. Because mind you, I haven't been around, but I've been around. I've been watching what everyone else is doing. I've been seeing where YouTube has been going. I've been seeing what people on YouTube have been talking about, and I've been slowly watching this site that I have made a part of my life for the past 5 years. Made a part of my life producing for the past 5 years, but been a part of for pretty much 11 years now. Like I've watched this site change, and through watching this site change, I've come to a conclusion. It's a very simple conclusion. It's a very, very simple one, and it's a conclusion that probably only people who've been on this site for a good number of years will understand. And I want you to understand that what I'm about to say, I mean, obviously it's in the title of the video, but regardless, what I'm about to say isn't necessarily a judgment of content. In a way it is, but it's not necessarily. But it's a judgment of exposure, and it's a judgment of where people like you and me stand in the grand scheme of where this site is operating and what this site is doing. And to stop beating around the bush, we're already 3 minutes into this piece of shit. Looking around and looking around and like just taking it all in, taking in what YouTube is now, bro, you, me, pretty much a lot of the YouTubers you watch, no matter how big they are, bro, we're the weird part of YouTube now. Isn't that crazy to think about? And let me explain to you why I say this. Because back in the day, when you said weird part of YouTube, that meant you had been clicking on the on the related bar for a bit too long, and you wound up watching some Indonesian boy skinning a cat or some shit. Like that's what the weird part of YouTube was back when I was, a youngin. The weird part of YouTube was a little quaint little joke that you would make if you got to a video that was a bit too weird. You go into the comment section, you be like, oh, I'm on the weird part of YouTube, But the think about it, why was the weird part of YouTube the weird part of YouTube? It was because it was hard to get to. It was because it wasn't heavily advertised. Even back in the day where weird stuff would get advertised on the front page, it was the stuff that would never make it close to the front page. It was the stuff that we were not necessarily meant to see, if whatever that means, you know what I mean? Like, it was stuff that not necessarily fitting into the broader idea of what YouTube was. Even though it's still YouTube, it's a YouTube video. Everything on YouTube is what YouTube is. It doesn't matter what you're making. That's the point of broadcast yourself. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're within the guidelines, you are a YouTube video. And if you're making YouTube videos, you are a YouTuber. But here's where it's gotten a bit more dicey. If you go to the front page of YouTube right now, I'm about to go there right now as I'm recording this. Actually, it would help if I turned off my account, sorry. Let me switch accounts to a more neutral account. If you go to the front page of YouTube and see the recommended, I'm looking at Ed Sheeran, I'm looking at Demi Lovato, Khalid, fucking what else? Christmas music, Vines, American football as a topic, country music. I'm looking at stuff that, for all intents and purposes, you're not going to see anything you would watch. So I want you to realize everything you watch on YouTube, your iDubbbz, your Leafies, your Keemstars, and if you're more on the fucking anime side of things, your Digibros, your cartoon ciphers, your Gigox, your anime everydays, your Canopas. Bro, we're all on the weird side of YouTube now. We're no longer viewed in the same way as what YouTube has come to mean. YouTube means something totally different now. We no longer fit into the narrative of what YouTube is. We are now that discarded content. We are now that weird left side. Because I only came to think about this because of the YouTube Rewind, the 2017 YouTube Rewind. People are getting so mad saying, oh no, this doesn't represent us. This isn't the, like, why is Stephen Colbert in it? Why, who the hell is Liza Koshy? Personally, I had no fucking idea who Liza Koshy is. Cute girl, but cute girl, kind of quirky. I like her videos, kinda. She's inoffensive. Much like all high subscriber brown female YouTubers are. She's inoffensive. Like that, she's the kind of girl, she's exactly the kind of girl that YouTube wants to be their face this year. She's the exact kind of girl. She's the exact kind of girl who YouTube wants to completely wash away the stink of the PewDiePie. 2017 hasn't been that guy's best year. But the point I'm making here is what you watch, the content you enjoy, the content you decide to see now is no longer what YouTube views itself as. In my opinion, the 2017 YouTube Rewind is absolutely indicative of what YouTube is. It's absolutely representative of what YouTube is. Because me and you, we're not really YouTube anymore. We're the weird part of YouTube. We're not the ones who get monetized anymore. We've been discarded. We're in the dust. We're not the ones people care about. When I say people, I don't mean you. I don't mean the millions of people subscribed to these quote-unquote weird part of YouTube channels, because obviously we still care about the content we consume, and we're gonna stick around for as long as this site lets us. But this site isn't letting us not be the weird part of YouTube. And to be honest, I like it. I like being the weird part of YouTube. I like being the rebel alliance in a way. I know that sounds super edgy, but like, I like being the part of YouTube that people go to when they're kind of done being talked down to. Like, anime editorial doesn't exist to pander. I know quite a few other anime YouTubers who exist to pander, but I mean, I don't. Because if I existed to pander, first thing I would do would be make more videos. But second thing I would do would be to change up the kind of content I make, because anime editorial it's not the kind of content that people easily gravitate towards. Like, people like my videos and a lot of people watch them sometimes, but even when a lot of people watch them, not a lot of people get them. Like, look at the comment section for any of my recent videos and you'll see that's the case. But yeah, we're the weird part of YouTube. And so now that I've made that distinction, now that I've stated that we are the weird part of YouTube, that we are no longer what YouTube deems to be core content, we are no longer what YouTube deems to be suitable for advertisers. Like, we're now the dregs in a way. We're a different breed of YouTuber. We're not the same as your Logan Pauls, your Jake Pauls, your PewDiePies. Well, I mean, to be honest, PewDiePie himself kinda, in a way, has kinda like put himself in that kind of position to be a stigma, but that's a different story for a different time. But what I mean to say is, especially operating out of the anime community, even operating out of some of the more heady parts of the game or music community. We are now the weird part of YouTube. If someone stumbles into one of our videos, it means they went down a rabbit hole and just wound up somewhere. Or someone who went down a rabbit hole and wound up somewhere linked them the video. That's kind of how weird part of YouTube videos used to get spread back in the day. We have to start realizing that this site doesn't exist to help us. And we have to start actively working as if this place is here to spite us. That doesn't mean we quit and go somewhere else. That means we act in accordance to where they're placing us, but fighting back at the same time. Understanding the position you're in doesn't necessarily mean defeat. It means understanding the position you're in. It means taking that into consideration when you plan your next move. And to be honest, I don't necessarily know what the next move is for our breed of YouTuber. I don't know how we get out of the weird part of YouTube. I don't know how we stop being the weird part of YouTube. Someone assassinating Sujin Wajawajski, whatever her name is, could be a start. I'm not advocating for killing anyone. Please don't arrest me. That was a joke. But who knows? Maybe we can turn this around. Oh, actually, I've got another thing I want to talk about. Recently, there's kind of been a really interesting push that I've seen as far as really not necessarily like bashing YouTube. Obviously, bashing YouTube is no new thing. Like, people have been bashing YouTube since, you know, whatever. But I've noticed this trend that even the kinds of YouTubers that in the past would have been seen as kind of like, you know, whatever kind of YouTubers are turning around, and because of the situation that the site is putting them in, are kind of getting a bit badass about it. Like, Lord knows I'm not the biggest fan of PewDiePie, but I can't say that he hasn't been, like, you know, in a way, a stalwart figure for the YouTube, Rebel Alliance in a way. Hopefully he keeps the N-word out of his mouth in the future. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of a thing that's started to sprout up. You've got the YouTubers who are obviously backed by the system, you know, your fucking KSIs, your Jake Pauls, all those, you know, fucking feckless idiots who are making tons of money and not really doing anything interesting. But then even the guys who used to be in that kind of class are starting to rebel, because, you know, it's starting to come to their attention that the kind of content they make isn't, what's that sentence that they use? Yeah, suitable for advertisers. I love that. I love that sentence. That sentence has defined YouTube in the modern age. Suitable for advertisers. Back in the day, do you think any of the shit that came on this goddamn godforsaken website was suitable for advertisers? Even when advertisers started fucking, you know, putting their ads on our videos, you think any of the stuff we were doing was suitable for advertisers? It's just really bizarre and hilarious to me. But yeah, again, understand where you are and mobilize a plan from that point. I don't have a plan yet on what us as the consumers and the grassroots creators can do. And I call myself a grassroots creator because, you know, there's not really any big machine behind me. I'm not being backed by like an actual, you know, big corporation. At best I'm backed by some rinky-dink MCM who fucking slashes my pay 70-30. But yeah, the idea that now we are the weird part of YouTube, it kind of just struck me, and it hurts in a way, but it's kind of refreshing knowing that now that we're at the bottom in our own little kennel, we can kind of do what we want. You know, if we're not worried about, you know, making money per se, at least not through ads the way YouTube used to work, Patreon still is a viable option. Other crowdfunding options are still a viable option. There are other ways you can monetize yourself on the internet. So yeah, there it is. We're the weird part of YouTube. It's up to us to figure out what we do with that new label. It's up to us what we figure out in the future as far as like being productive members of this website means. Are we going to sit around making videos complaining about the situations we're in forever? Or are we going to say fuck you to the big system and keep trucking along as usual and still getting to the money regardless of what they do? Are we still gonna say, oh wow, it kind of sucks how YouTube is, you know, blackballing all of us? Or are we gonna put our foot down, say fuck it, and keep moving and keep existing and keep making these views and keep getting this notoriety, even though YouTube doesn't want us there? I don't want to be in a YouTube rewind. Even if I had 1 million subs, even if I had 2, 3, 4, 5 million subs, I would treat that shit the way indie directors treat the fucking Oscars. I don't want to come to your fucking shitty congregation of fakery. I'm gonna chill in the weird part of YouTube. I'm gonna make my own YouTube rewind with me and a bunch of my homies. That's what Garnt did. Big ups to him. Like, real shit. I feel like that's the direction YouTube needs to go in. We're no longer some big family. We're tribes. We're disparate tribes. And it's very, very clear where the hierarchy has placed us. And I think we need to start acting as such. And I think we need to start acting out as such. So, new anime content soon. New content of other types as well soon, hopefully, if I actually decide to stick around this time. I'm just joking, I will stick around. Yeah, well, the weird part of YouTube. I guess that's just where we are right now. Always remember, the only L's you take are lessons. Sayonara, Mina-san. Thanks for watching.